The farmer, whether or not he would ultimately end up being caught, was of little to no consequence to Ralph at that moment. At that moment, he was more disappointedly fascinated by the agonizingly decrepit condition of his shoes. The shoes he had worked so hard to buy were covered in tragedy. Deep layers of mud concealed the traces of bloody evidence. The fresh rubber and lace odor had been vanquished within 24 hours. The howling of searching sirens and screeching tires chasing shadowy suspects down alleyways felt like a distant memory already. In fact, it had been a couple of days since he'd even internally shrieked at the sight of a cop car. Now, though, he was in an entirely different state. He wondered if Indiana would be as vigilant in their hunt for him as Kentucky had been. The state border had felt like a finish line. Do they chase across state borders? He wondered. #things you're not taught in school. The truth was, he didn't even know how it played out in his absence or, perhaps more accurately, his fleeing. Madison's survival was still in question. It was only in the arm, but a gunshot wound is a gunshot wound. Run first, dodge questions later seemed like the only logical thing to do at the time. Now 500 miles from the original altercation, Ralph still couldn't be sure if he should slow his pace and come out of the shadows just yet. Stalks of fallen, dried wheat crunched under his newly unrecognizable sneakers. The amber rays of the sun rose over the golden field he was aimlessly navigating. Figuring the farmers would be out cruising plots on their tractors any minute. Ralph thought it might be wiser to find a more inconspicuous path to travel. But where? He could only see a long distance when he reached a peak in the landscape, and the last time he did, it was farmland as far as the eye could possibly see, combines and corn mostly. It might be a half-day's walk until actual civilization could be reached. Presently, he couldn't wander in the fields much longer for fear of a farmer phoning the police for his trespassing. He couldn't really walk along the edge of the road either. If a local blue blood pegged his description, he'd be in cuffs on his way back to Kentucky in a squad car faster than a frog can snatch a fly. Despite being on the run, Ralph's pace had slowed considerably. The adrenaline of the circumstantial events had almost all but relinquished power of his muscles to the deep fatigue which began to plague him with each increasingly small step. The sound of distant, rustling, farm equipment engines began to drown out the songs of the morning birds as the sun rose higher into the morning sky. Ralph thought it to be ironic how the sun could shine so beautifully during such dark circumstances. It was as if Mother Earth had no idea how much trouble he was in. He pulled off his ball cap to wipe the day's first bead of sweat from his brow. There would be much more to come. The brim was grasped loosely by the tired, filthy fingers of the alleged fugitive. Ralph's brown eyes glared into the etched logo on the front. Tossing it on the ground, he realized, but if not before that moment. He was in the clothes of a possible murderer, a murderer wearing a hat and Nikes, the hat, the shirt, the hoodie, underwear, jeans, the shoes. He pictured them in a basement locker of some precinct, in a plastic bag marked as evidence. What had been a collection of random choices that fateful morning was now the ensemble of a violent criminal. At least, that's what Ralph thought the journalists would write if he were later convicted of murder. Though his legs and feet felt the weight of the thousands of steps he'd walked in the past 48 hours. Ralph knew he couldn't stop for even a blink of sleep until he changed his clothes. Ralph took a moment to check his wallet. There was an array of gift cards with a few bucks left on each and a little over $100 in cash. Normally, there would be nothing but a Subway punch card to speak of in the billfold, but his birthday had passed mere days before the incident. The same birthday during which he was presented with a gun from his stepfather. The same birthday Madison had missed. I had to. Right? Thought Ralph for a moment. She would have died if I hadn't shot her. Right? Can someone really be convicted of murder for trying to save someone's life? The teenage boy, wrought with guilt by the images left in his mind, fell to his knees and began to weep. Some of the tears that ran down his dirty, dried sweaty cheeks were out of guilt, some of sadness, others of hurt, and many just from emotional exhaustion. Their salty wetness reminded him of the intolerable thirst and hunger he felt. Food or clothing first? He questioned. What the spoke a voice from the field. In the gasps of his sobs, Ralph hadn't heard the stranger approach. Jesus, kid. You scared the wits out of me. What the hell you doin' wandering around my field?
An untold version of love, it's autumn, few wilted leaves on my face conveyed implicitly. But, all these years I am curiously waiting to enjoy a spring season in my life. Unfortunately, I couldn't. I guess my life would turn more and more bitter. Maybe, from ugly to grotesque. Wondering isn't? Well, I brief. My name is Marvin. People call me as ugly and they say my physical appearance perfectly matches with my name. There's a saying, don't judge a book by its cover. But, people won't. Many detest my shadow-colored appearance and always throw a sarcastic or scary look at me, and they never try to explore my innocent character. I could easily predict what their perception about me by their weird gazes. Sometimes, it hurts. Especially when people start to praise and appreciate the cuteness of BB, blue-eyed beauty. They always consider her face is their lucky charm and my face is merely an evil generator. Blue-eyed beauty is her nickname. Her real name is Bella. Dear Creator. You are biased. I hate you, I always used to curse that personality. In the midst of my despair. My only bliss is BB. Yes. The same blue-eyed beauty. I used to call her as Beauty. Except prettiness, we both have got some similarities as well. We are like vagabonds. No proper residents and caretakers as well. At present, we are residing in an old library. My owner Fika always wants Beauty to sit near the billing section, and she always wants me to stay away from her. Maybe because of the same reason, lucky charm. Anyhow, I strongly believe that someday this world will only fall for a good heart and, not for the face. Among these wicked people my blue-eyed beauty is a unique creature. She never considered me as unlucky. Bella always greets me with her evergreen smile. Her eyeballs always darts on me. The warmth and care in her eyes are silent healer for my scars. I am sure, she won't hate me for what I am. Sometimes, I wish to go down on my knee and ask, will you be my life partner? But, I couldn't. Because, the fear of rejection makes me stay silent. That's my life story. It may sound horror but, I am sure that whoever reads my tale will stumble on an incredible turning point. Trust me. Their worst destiny will transform as a fairy tale. Crazy character. These fictional novels and dramas are humbug. The real-life prince and princess are contrary. All they want is handful of dollars and beautiful face. None will pick an unattractive person as their better half, Naomi's heart muttered. She chucked the book towards the bookshelf with some sort of discontent. Her eyeballs began to chink through the transparent glass window. Wait. What? It widened and paused for a second. What a surprise. Her favorite director and award-winning filmmaker Cyrus Denver was standing outside the library and chatting with the librarian. Naomi's heart was urging her to meet Cyrus in person but, the hesitant waves from her brain blocked Naomi to stay away from him. She decided to observe their conversations from the library window. Heard that you have bagged the copyrights of author Kim Matteo's book. I am a big fan of his books. Especially Ugly Marvin and Blue-Eyed Beauty, his imaginations has done a magic. Enjoyed it, said Kyra Liam, the librarian. Liar. I am pretty sure that she didn't read those books. Every time she claims herself as an avid reader. What I could see is, she opens the book either to enjoy the smell of new books or to dust the old books. Words of the librarian triggered Naomi's temper. Kyra was inquiring about his next project. She deliberately wants him to make a movie based on the novel Blue-Eyed Beauty. To her dismay, he answered adversely. You are partially right. It would be a collaboration of Matteo's two books, Ugly Marvin and Blue-Eyed Beauty. In Précis, the trending Blue-Eyed Beauty Bella and Ugly Marvin are going to exchange their rings. Bella is a mermaid, Marvin is a ghost and least liked character as well. Turning Ugly Marvin novel into a screenplay will not go smooth among the audience. Pairing Ugly with Beauty is going to be a disaster, Kyra's thoughts. You are wrong. Still, there is no standard definition for beauty. If you think, tall, curvy, and snowy look is attractive, I would say stout, short and unlighted complexion is gorgeous. Everything is based on our perceptions. All humans are exquisite in their own way. Fall for a good heart, not for the face, said Cyrus. Seems he is a mind reader. Naomi grinned. Though Kyra is not convinced about blending the novels together for a movie. She inquired about the stars who are going to play the lead roles in the movie. Cyrus's index finger pointed against his heart. Awesome! Cyrus is going to play Marvin's role. What about Bella? Now Naomi's heart was pounding rapidly to know the name of the star girl. Cyrus made a semicircular turn and some steps of walk on the lawn made him land before the glass win.